I found my boss standing in the pasture at 3 a.m., except my boss was asleep in the house, and the thing in the field was standing on the wrong kind of legs. That was 3 weeks ago. I still see it when I close my eyes. My name's Jake, and I've been working cattle ranches since I was 16 years old. I'm 26 now, and I thought I'd seen everything the job could throw at me. Breech berths, broken fences, rattlesnakes in the feed shed, even a mountain lion that took down a yearling calf back in 2021. You work the land long enough, you get comfortable with nature. You start thinking you understand how things work out here. I was wrong. This happened in the spring of 2023. I'd been working for Mr. Holloway for about 8 months at that point. His ranch sits just outside Blanding, Utah. 400 acres of high desert grazing land that backs right up against BLM territory. Beautiful country if you can handle the isolation. Red rock formations jutting up from the sagebrush, juniper trees twisting out of the sandy soil, and sky so big it makes you feel like an ant. The work was straightforward. Check fence lines, rotate the cattle between pastures, make sure the water trough stayed full, handle any medical issues with the livestock. Mr. Holloway ran about 200 head of Angus and Hereford Cross. Good cattle, healthy stock. He'd been ranching that land for 30 years, inherited it from his father. There was one rule he gave me on my first day that seemed odd at the time. Don't go to the southeast pasture after dark, he said. We were standing in his kitchen, him pouring coffee, me filling out tax paperwork. Don't care what you hear out there. Don't care what you see. You stay close to the house once the sun goes down. I nodded. Figured it was liability stuff. Maybe someone had gotten hurt out there before. Sued him, and now he had to cover his ass. Ranch owners get cautious after one injury claim. He didn't explain further. Just handed me the coffee and told me I'd start the next morning at 6. The other ranch hand was a guy named Tommy, 32, local. Been working for Mr. Holloway off and on for 5 years. Quiet guy, knew his way around cattle. We'd ride out on ATVs every morning, check water levels in the troughs, inspect fence posts for damage, move cattle between grazing areas depending on how the grass looked. Simple work, honest work. Tommy was Navajo. Grew up on the reservation about 40 miles east. Sometimes his grandmother would send food with him. Fry bread, mutton stew, stuff that made the break room smell incredible. He never talked much about his family, but he wore a small leather pouch on a cord around his neck. When I asked about it once, he just said it was protection. I didn't push. The first weird thing happened in early April. We were checking the north pasture fence line when I smelled it. Not cattle, not sagebrush or juniper. Something else. Something that made my sinuses burn and my eyes water. It was like wet dog mixed with roadkill. Thick and cloying, hanging in the air like humidity. You smell that? I asked Tommy. He stopped his ATV. Sat there for a moment, engine idling. Then he nodded slowly. We should head back, he said. We haven't finished the... We should head back, he repeated. His voice was flat. Final. We turned around. That night, I heard the cattle making noise. Not their usual sounds, but this was different. Panicked. I was in the bunkhouse, trying to sleep, when the bellowing started. It was just past 11 p.m. I pulled on my boots and grabbed my flashlight, stepping out onto the gravel. The main house was about 50 yards away. I could see Mr. Holloway's living room light on, the blue flicker of his TV through the window. The cattle were in the middle pasture, maybe 200 yards from where I stood. Their silhouettes moved against the starlight, bunched together, agitated. Then I heard it, a voice. Come on now. Come on. It sounded like Mr. Holloway, that same gravelly tone he used when he was trying to calm a spooked animal. But Mr. Holloway was in the house. I could see his shadow moving past the window. The cattle responded to the voice. They started moving, slowly, at first, then faster, toward the southeast corner of the pasture, toward the BLM land, beyond the fence. I stood there, flashlight in hand, trying to make sense of what I was hearing. The voice called again, "Come on now." Easy does it. Perfect. Mimicry. Every inflection, every pause. Then the cattle stopped. They milled around for a moment, confused. Then they scattered back toward the center of the pasture, away from wherever that voice had been coming from. I went back inside, told myself it was a radio, or a neighbor, or something else, something reasonable. I didn't sleep well that night. The next morning, Tommy and I found the first body. It was a calf, maybe 3 months old, dead in the southeast pasture, about 40 yards from the fence line. But it wasn't just dead. It was torn apart. The rib cage was cracked open, organs pulled out and scattered. The head was twisted at an angle that shouldn't have been possible without tools. Coyotes? I asked. Tommy crouched next to it, studying the wounds. He shook his head. "Coyotes don't do this," he said quietly. "Mountain lion neither." "Then what?" "Don't know." He stood up, wiping his hands on his jeans. "Let's get Mr. Holloway." Mr. Holloway came out in his truck, looked at the calf for a long time without saying anything. Then he told us to bury it, burn some sage after, and to move the cattle to the west pasture for a few days. "What killed it?" I asked. He didn't answer right away, just stared out toward the BLM land, toward the line of juniper trees that marked the property boundary. "Something that don't belong here," he finally said. That's when I started paying attention to the tracks. Around the dead calf, pressed into the sandy soil, were paw prints. Coyote. Definitely coyote. But they were too big. The stride was too long, and about 15 feet from the body, the tracks changed. They went from 4 legs to 2. The paw prints became bare human footprints, adult-sized. Then after another 20 feet, they went back to paws again, back and forth. 4 legs, 2 legs, 4 legs. Like whatever made them couldn't decide what it wanted to be. I took pictures with my phone, showed them to Tommy. He looked at them for a long time. Then he looked at me. "My grandmother told me stories," he said, "when I was young, about things that walk on 2 legs and 4, things that wear skins that aren't theirs." "What kind of things?" He hesitated. Then he said a word I'd heard before but never really understood. "Ye Nald Lushi, Skinwalker." I'd heard the stories. Everyone who lives out here has. But I'd always figured they were just campfire tales. Folklore. The kind of thing you tell to scare tourists. Tommy wasn't smiling. He wasn't joking. "You should talk to Mr. Holloway," he said. "Ask him about the southeast pasture." But I didn't. Not yet. I told myself there had to be a rational explanation. Deformed coyote. Sick mountain lion. Something explainable. 2 days later, we found another calf. This one was closer to the house. Maybe 200 yards. Same condition. Torn apart. Organs removed. Head twisted wrong. The smell was worse this time. That wet dog and rot smell, but stronger. It clung to my clothes, got in my throat. The tracks were there again. Paw to foot, foot to paw, and this time, there was something else. Scratches on the fence posts, 4 parallel gouges, carved deep into the wood. Too high for a coyote. Too wide for a mountain lion. They started at the southeast corner and worked their way west, toward the house. 1 fence post at a time, like something was marking its progress. Tommy came to work the next morning with a bag his grandmother had given him. Small leather pouches filled with I don't know what, herbs, maybe, ash. He tied them to fence posts around the property. Mr. Holloway watched him do it and didn't say a word to stop him. That night, I set up a trail camera. I mounted it on a fence post overlooking the middle pasture, the area between where we'd found the 2 calves. I aimed it toward the southeast corner, set it to night vision mode, and walked back to the bunkhouse. If something was killing our cattle, I wanted proof. The next morning, I checked the camera. There were 47 photos. Most of them were nothing. Just empty pasture, grass moving in the wind, the occasional jackrabbit. Then, at 2:37 a.m., the motion sensor triggered. The first photo showed a shape at the edge of the frame, blurred, moving fast. The second photo showed it closer, still blurred, but I could make out details. It was on 4 legs, lean, too lean, ribs showing through patchy fur. The limbs were wrong, too long, the joints bent at angles that didn't match any animal I'd ever seen. The third photo showed it standing, on 2 legs. The hind legs had bent backward, knees inverting, and the front legs had shortened somehow. The head was low, neck extended, and even though the image was grainy and washed out from the night vision, I could see the eyes. They reflected the camera's infrared light, but they weren't green like a coyote's, or gold like a cat's. They were white, pure white, like cataracts. The fourth photo was closer. The thing had moved toward the camera, maybe 30 feet away now. Its mouth was open. I could see teeth. Too many teeth. The fifth photo was taken 3 seconds later. The thing was gone. No blur, no motion trail. Just gone. I showed the photos to Tommy. His face went pale. "We need to leave," he said. "What?" "This job. This place. We need to leave." "Tommy, my grandmother told me what to look for," he said. His voice was shaking. "The tracks, the smell, the way it moves. That thing. It's circling closer. It's learning the property. And when it's done..." He looked at me. "It's not going to stop with cattle. We can't just quit. We've got..." "I am," he interrupted. "I'm done. You should be too." He left that afternoon. Didn't even collect his last paycheck. I stayed. I don't know why. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe I just didn't want to believe what I'd seen was real. Mr. Holloway came out to the bunkhouse that evening. He had a thermos of coffee and a grim expression. "Tommy told me he's not coming back," he said. "Yeah." He sat down on the steps, poured himself a cup of coffee, stared out at the pasture. "My grandfather ran this ranch before me," he said quietly, "and his father before him. 3 generations. You know what they all had in common?" I shook my head. "They all knew about the southeast pasture." He took a sip of coffee. "They all knew what lived out there, past the fence line, in the BLM land, and they all knew the rules." "What rules?" "Don't go near it after dark. Don't respond if you hear voices. And for God's sake, don't make eye contact." He looked at me. "Whatever you saw on that camera, it's been there longer than we have. Longer than the ranch. Longer than Blanding itself, probably. The Navajo know about it. They have words for it. Protections. So what do? We keep the cattle away from the southeast pasture. We renew the salt lines every month. We don't go out after dark." He stood up. "And we hope it gets bored and moves on. Has it ever moved on before?" He didn't answer. Just walked back to the house. That night, I volunteered for watch duty. I sat on the porch of the main house with Mr. Holloway's rifle, a Remington 700 with a scope and a full magazine of 30-06 rounds. I had a spotlight, a radio, and a thermos of coffee that had gone cold an hour ago. The cattle were quiet. The stars were out. The temperature had dropped to maybe 40 degrees, cold enough to see your breath. At 2:53 a.m., I saw movement in the middle pasture. I grabbed the spotlight and flicked it on. There was a man standing about 80 yards away. He was wearing jeans and a flannel shirt. He was facing away from me, toward the southeast corner. He wasn't moving. I raised the radio. "Mr. Holloway, you copy?" Static. Then his voice. Groggy. "Yeah. What's up? You in the house? Where else would I be? It's 3 in the damn morning. Copy." I clicked off the radio. Kept the spotlight on the figure. It was still there. Still not moving. Then it turned around. The face was Mr. Holloway's. Same weathered skin. Same white beard. Same deep-set eyes. But something was wrong. The proportions weren't quite right. The neck was too long. The shoulders too narrow. And when it took a step toward me, I saw the legs. They bent backward at the knee. I stood up, raised the rifle. The thing stopped. It tilted its head, slowly, too far to one side. Then it smiled, not a human smile. Too wide, too many teeth. "Jake," it said, Mr. Holloway's voice. Perfect mimicry. "Stay back," I said. My voice cracked. It took another step. The legs moved wrong, joints bending in ways that shouldn't be possible. It was still smiling. "Jake, come here," it said. "I need to show you something." I clicked the radio with my thumb. "Mr. Holloway, can you confirm you're in the house? I'm in my damn bedroom. What the hell's going on out there?" The thing in the pasture tilted its head the other way. Its smile faded. Then I heard my own voice. "Mr. Holloway, can you confirm you're in the house?" It came from the thing's mouth. My exact words, my exact tone, played back like a recording. My hands started shaking. The thing took another step, then another. It was 50 yards away now. I could see more details in the spotlight beam. The skin on its face looked loose, like a mask that didn't quite fit. The eyes were too large, and the smell hit me. That wet dog and rot smell. So strong I gagged. "Stay back," I shouted. I chambered around in the rifle. It stopped again. Stood there, swaying slightly. Then, it dropped to all fours. The transformation was wrong. Bones cracked. Joints popped. The arms stretched, lengthened, hands becoming paws. The face elongated into a snout. Within seconds, it looked like a coyote, but the proportions were still wrong. Too big, too lean, and those white eyes, they never changed. It started circling, moving around the property in a wide arc, staying just at the edge of the spotlight's range. Every few seconds, it would stop and look at me. Then it would continue. I followed it with the spotlight, kept the rifle trained on it. It circled for 20 minutes. Then it spoke again, this time in Tommy's voice. "You should have left." I almost fired. My finger was on the trigger, but something stopped me. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the memory of Mr. Holloway's words. "Don't make eye contact." I lowered my gaze, looked at its chest instead of its face. It growled, low and deep. Not a coyote sound. Not anything I'd ever heard. Then it charged. It came fast. Impossibly fast. Covering 40 yards in seconds. I raised the rifle and fired. The shot went wide. I worked the bolt, fired again. This time I hit it. I saw the impact. I saw it stumble, but it didn't go down. It veered to the left, toward the fence line. I fired a third time. Missed. It reached the fence. the property line, and stopped. There was something there. A white line in the dirt. Salt. The thing paced back and forth along the fence. It kept looking at me, then at the salt line, then back at me. It was breathing hard. I could hear it from 60 yards away, a wet, rattling sound. Then it started testing the line. It would put one paw forward, hover it over the salt, then pull back, over and over, like it was trying to find a gap, a weakness. I kept the rifle trained on it. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold it steady. It paced for another 10 minutes, then it sat down. Just sat there, on the other side of the fence, staring at me. The face started to change again. Mr. Holloway, then Tommy, then me, then something else. Something I'd never seen. Something that looked like a face made of dried leather and bone. It cycled through them over and over, testing, learning. I heard the radio crackle. "Jake, you still out there?" It was Mr. Holloway's voice. Real Mr. Holloway, from inside the house. "Yeah," I said. My voice was barely a whisper. "Sun's coming up in 30 minutes. Hold tight. It's at the fence line." "I know. Just hold tight." I sat there, rifle raised, watching the thing watch me. As the sky started to lighten, just that first hint of gray on the eastern horizon, the thing stood up. It looked at me one more time, then it opened its mouth. The sound that came out wasn't animal. It wasn't human. It was both and neither. A scream that sounded like it came from something being torn apart. Then it ran. It dropped to all fours and bolted toward the southeast corner, toward the BLM land. It moved so fast it was just a blur. Gone within seconds. The smell faded. The cattle started making normal sounds again. And I sat there on that porch, rifle across my lap, shaking. Mr. Holloway came outside just as the sun broke the horizon. He looked at where the thing had been standing. Then he looked at me. "You okay?" I nodded. I wasn't, but I nodded anyway. "You saw it?" "Yeah." "And you didn't cross the fence line?" "No." He sat down next to me, pulled out a flask from his jacket and took a long drink. Then he handed it to me. I took it. "My grandfather told me about the first time he saw it," Mr. Holloway said. 1974. It killed 18 head of cattle in 1 month, just like this, circling closer, testing the boundaries. He took the flask back. He put down salt lines, renewed them every full moon, and eventually, it moved on. For how long? About 40 years. I looked at him. "It came back?" "They always come back," he said quietly. "This land, something about it draws them. The Navajo know. They've known for generations." He stood up. "Come on, let's get you some breakfast." I followed him inside. My legs felt like rubber. 3 days later, I went into town, stopped by the San Juan County Sheriff's Office. I figured I should report what I'd seen, even if they didn't believe me. The deputy at the desk was a guy named Mitchell. Middle-aged, looked like he'd been working the county for decades. I told him about the cattle killings, the tracks, the thing I'd seen. He didn't laugh. He didn't roll his eyes. He just nodded and pulled out a form. "This on the Holloway Ranch?" he asked. "Yeah." Southeast pasture?" I stared at him. "How did you—" "We've had 3 other reports this year," he said. "Jensen Ranch, Martinez property, and the old Peterson place. All southeast of Blanding, all bordering BLM land." He filled out the form. "We'll add it to the file." "That's it?" He looked at me. "What do you want me to do? Send a patrol out there?" "We tried that in 2009. Lost a cruiser. Found it 3 days later. Flipped on its side. claw marks all over it. Deputies said they saw something, but the report got buried. Why? Because nobody wants to admit what's out there, he said. Fish and Wildlife says it's a bear. Navajo Nation says it's their problem. BLM won't comment. So we just document it. And we warn people to stay inside after dark. He handed me a copy of the report. Incident number 4137, he said. Keep that. And if you're smart, you'll quit that job and find work closer to town. I didn't quit, but I started renewing those salt lines every week, and I talked to Tommy's grandmother. She lives in a small house on the reservation, about 40 miles from the ranch. Tommy set up the meeting. She made fry bread and coffee, and we sat at her kitchen table while I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she nodded slowly. My grandfather told me the same story, she said. In 1946, same area, same thing. What did he do? He left, she said simply. You can't kill them. You can't trap them. All you can do is protect yourself and hope they move on. Mr. Holloway said his grandfather dealt with it before. He did. And it left. But it came back. She refilled my coffee cup. They always come back. That land, it's theirs. We're just living on it. So what do? She reached into a drawer and pulled out a small leather pouch. Same kind Tommy wore. Wear this, she said. Don't take it off. And follow the rules. Salt lines. Stay inside after dark. Don't respond to voices. And if you see it again, she looked at me with eyes that had seen too much. Don't look it in the face. Don't let it learn you. I wear that pouch every day now. It's been 3 weeks since that night on the porch. We haven't lost any more cattle. The tracks haven't come any closer. But sometimes, late at night, I hear the cattle getting restless, and I smell that wet dog and rot smell drifting in through my window. Mr. Holloway renewed the salt lines yesterday. He does it himself now. Says he doesn't want to risk me or anyone else getting too close to the fence line. Tommy never came back. Can't say I blame him. I'm still working the ranch, still checking fence lines and moving cattle and fixing water troughs. But I don't go near the southeast pasture anymore, and I'm always inside before the sun goes down, because that thing, whatever it is, it's still out there. I know it is. I can feel it watching sometimes, waiting, learning, and I think about what Tommy's grandmother said. They always come back. If your cattle won't enter a specific pasture, don't go there after dark. And if you see your boss standing in a field at 3 a.m., radio him first, check twice, because that thing in the pasture, it's patient. It's learning your voice, your habits, your routine. And it's still out there, circling closer every spring. I told Tommy's grandmother this story last month. She nodded like she'd heard it before, said her grandfather told the same one in 1946. If you've seen anything like this, you're not alone. And maybe that's the most terrifying part. These things have been here longer than us. They were here before the ranches, before the towns, before the roads. And they'll be here long after we're gone. So if you're out there working land near Navajo territory, near BLM land, near anywhere that feels too quiet at night, pay attention to the rules. Renew your salt lines. Stay inside after dark. And if you hear your own voice calling from the darkness, don't answer it. The same man bought cigarettes from me 4 times in one night. Problem is, I watched him drive away after the first time. I still work that gas station, still pull the overnight shift. But I installed 3 more cameras on my own dime, and I never, ever unlock that door after 2 a.m. anymore. Not for anyone. My name's Derek. I'm 29 years old, and I've been working the graveyard shift at a truck stop outside Shiprock, New Mexico for the past 3 years. Route 64, right where it cuts through high desert about 15 minutes from anything resembling civilization. It's honest work. Quiet work. The kind of job where you can listen to podcasts, read books between customers, and mostly be left alone with your thoughts. The station sits on about 2 acres of cracked asphalt, 8 pumps, a small convenience store, bathrooms that I clean every night at 3 a.m. whether they need it or not, and a subway that closed down 2 years ago. The fluorescent lights are bright enough to give you a headache. They cover the entire lot in that harsh blue-white glow that makes everything look washed out and artificial. I work 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 5 nights a week, Wednesday through Sunday. The pay is decent, $18 an hour plus overnight differential. It's enough to cover rent on my apartment in Farmington and keep my truck running. Most nights are predictable. I get maybe 20 customers total. Half of them are long-haul truckers fueling up and grabbing coffee. The other half are locals, shift workers, nurses heading home from the hospital, insomniacs who need cigarettes or energy drinks at 3 in the morning. I know most of the regulars by name. Eddie drives a propane delivery truck. Comes through every Tuesday and Friday around 1 a.m. Always gets a large coffee, black, and a pack of Skoal. Never says much, just nods, pays, and leaves. Maria works nights at the Northern Navajo Medical Center. She stops by around 4 a.m. on her way home. Always exhausted. Always orders a Red Bull and whatever hot food we have under the heat lamps. James is a long-haul trucker out of Albuquerque. I see him maybe twice a month. Big guy, friendly, tells terrible jokes while his rig fills up. He hauls refrigerated goods, produce, mostly, and he's always worried about his schedule. These are the people who make the job bearable. Familiar faces in the middle of nowhere. Small talk that breaks up the monotony. But there are other customers too. The ones I don't recognize. The ones who pass through once and never come back. Tourists who took a wrong turn. Travelers who didn't realize how empty this stretch of highway gets at night. They're usually nervous. Uncomfortable with how dark and isolated everything is once you step outside the circle of fluorescent light. I don't blame them. It's unsettling out here after midnight. The desert stretches out in every direction. Flat and black and silent. On clear nights you can see stars that city people forget exist. But when the wind picks up, when the clouds roll in, when there's nothing but darkness beyond the parking lot, it feels like the station is the only thing left in the world. The first weird thing happened in late August of 2024. It was a Thursday night. Slow. I'd had maybe 6 customers since my shift started. The last one had been a trucker around midnight, filled up his rig, bought some jerky, and rolled out heading east toward Farmington. I was restocking the cooler when I heard the door chime. Customer. I grabbed a rag, wiped my hands, and walked back to the counter. There was a man standing by the cigarette display. Average height, maybe 5'9", thin build. He was wearing jeans, work boots, and a faded denim jacket. Baseball cap pulled low. I couldn't see much of his face. "Help you?" I asked. He turned toward me. Still couldn't see his face well. The cap's brim cast a shadow, and he was standing just outside the direct light from the overhead fixtures. "Marlboro Reds," he said. His voice was flat. No accent. No inflection. "Hard pack or box?" "Box." I grabbed a pack from behind the counter and scanned it. $8.75. He pulled out a $10 bill, placed it on the counter. I made change, handed it to him, and he walked out without another word. I watched through the window as he got into a truck. White Ford F-150, older model, maybe early 2000s. He started the engine, pulled out of the parking lot, and headed west on Route 64. Normal transaction. Forgot about it 5 minutes later. At 1:43 a.m., the door chimed again. I looked up from my phone. Same guy, same denim jacket, same baseball cap, same thin build. He walked straight to the cigarette display and stood there. I felt a small twist in my gut, something off, but I walked over to the counter anyway. "Back already?" I said. Tried to keep my tone light. He turned toward me. Still couldn't see his face. "Marlboro Reds," he said. Same flat voice. Same lack of inflection. "Didn't you just..." I stopped myself. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was a different guy who looked similar. "Hard pack or box?" "Box." I scanned another pack. $8.75. He put down a 10. I made change. He took it and walked out. I watched him get into the same white Ford F-150. Same truck. I was sure of it now. Same dent in the rear quarter panel. Same toolbox in the bed. He started the engine and drove west again. I stood there for a moment, confused. Why come back 20 minutes later for the same thing? Did he forget he already bought cigarettes? Was he buying them for someone else? I pulled up the security camera footage on the monitor behind the counter, rewound to the first transaction. There he was, 1:18 a.m., buying cigarettes. Then I watched him leave, get in the truck, and drive away. I fast-forwarded to the second transaction, 1:43 a.m., same guy, same truck. Okay. Weird, but not impossible. Maybe he smoked through the first pack already. Maybe he was stocking up. Maybe he had friends waiting somewhere who wanted cigarettes too. I went back to restocking the cooler. At 2:31 a.m., the door chimed again. I knew before I looked up. Same guy, same jacket, same cap, same build. He walked to the cigarette display. My hands went cold. I walked to the counter slowly. My heart was starting to beat faster. "Marlboro Reds," he said before I could speak. "You've been here twice already tonight," I said. Kept my voice steady. He didn't respond. Just stood there. "Box or hard pack?" "Box." I scanned the pack. My hands were shaking slightly. $8.75. He put down a 10. I gave him change. He walked out. I followed him with my eyes. Watched him get into the same white Ford. Watched him drive west. I immediately went to the security monitor. Pulled up all 3 transactions. Watched them back to back. Same person. Same truck. Same movements. Almost identical. Like he was following a script. But here's what made my skin crawl. In the third transaction, when he turned toward me at the counter, I finally got a glimpse of his face under the cap. It was the right shape, right skin tone, but the features were slightly wrong. The nose was a little too flat. The mouth was a little too wide. The eyes were spaced just a bit too far apart, like someone had described a human face to something that had never seen one, and it did its best to recreate it. I locked the front door. We're not supposed to lock it during business hours. It's a 24-hour station, but I didn't care. I flipped the deadbolt and put up the back in 15 minutes sign. Then I called my supervisor. His name's Ron. He's 50-something. Been managing this station for 10 years. He answered on the 4th ring, voice thick with sleep. "Derek, what's wrong?" "I need to close early," I said. "What? Why?" Something's wrong. I can't explain it. I just need to close." "You can't close. We're 24 hours. Ron, is there an emergency?" "Are you hurt?" I hesitated. "How do I explain this?" "No. But then you stay open. That's the job." He sighed. "Look, if you're feeling sick, call someone to cover your shift. But you can't just close because you've got a bad feeling. There's a guy who's been here 3 times buying the same cigarettes, and I watched him leave and So you've got a customer who likes cigarettes. Derek, it's 2:30 in the morning. You're tired. You're seeing things. Just finish your shift, okay? He hung up. I stood there holding the phone, feeling my pulse in my throat. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was seeing patterns that weren't there. I unlocked the door, went back behind the counter, tried to focus on organizing the lottery tickets. At 3:17 a.m., the door chimed. I looked up. Different person this time. A woman. Middle-aged, maybe 45. She was wearing scrubs. Nurse's scrubs. And she looked exhausted. I didn't recognize her, but that wasn't unusual. Lots of medical staff worked nights in Farmington and Shiprock. "Hey," she said, walking to the cooler. "Long shift, I hear that," I said. She grabbed a Red Bull and a pre-made sandwich, came to the counter. I scanned her items. $12.40, I said. She paid with a card, signed the receipt, started to leave. Then she stopped at the door. "You see a white truck out there?" she asked. My stomach dropped. "What?" "White Ford, parked by Pump 3. Is that yours?" I looked out the window. There was a white Ford F-150 parked at Pump 3. Same truck, same dent, but I'd watched it leave 3 times. "No," I said quietly. "Huh. Weird. Nobody's in it." She shrugged. "Have a good night." She walked out, got into her Honda, and drove away. I stared at that white truck. It just sat there under the fluorescent lights. Engine off. No one inside. I grabbed my phone and pulled up the security app. I could access all the cameras remotely. I scrolled through the feeds. Pump 3 camera showed the truck clearly. Empty cab. No movement. I switched to the feed from 20 minutes ago. The truck wasn't there. I switched to 30 minutes ago. Not there. I went back to 2:31 a.m., right after the 3rd transaction. I watched the guy get in the truck and drive away. Off camera. Gone. But now it was back. I looked up from my phone. The truck was still there. I locked the door again. This time I didn't care what Ron said. Then I heard the voice. Derek. It came from outside. Somewhere past the pumps. Past the edge of the light. My own name. In my own voice. "Derek. Can you help me?" I stood frozen behind the counter. That was my voice. Exactly my voice. Same tone. Same cadence. Same slight rasp I get when I'm tired. "Derek." I'm locked out of my truck. It was coming from near Pump 3, near the white Ford. I looked at the security monitor, switched to the Pump 3 camera. There was someone standing next to the truck now. It was me. Same build, same clothes. The gas station uniform polo, same jeans, same work boots, same posture. It was standing there, facing the store, but I couldn't make out the face clearly on the low-resolution camera. I looked down at myself. I was behind the counter. In my uniform. In my body. I looked back at the monitor. The other me was still there. It waved. "Derek, can you unlock the door?" I backed away from the counter. My legs felt weak. The thing outside started walking toward the store. Slowly. It moved. Mostly right. Mostly human. But there was something slightly off about the gait. The steps were a little too measured, a little too even. It reached the door. Stood there, looking in through the glass. I still couldn't see the face clearly. The fluorescent lights above the door created a glare on the glass. It knocked 3 times, evenly spaced. "Derek, it's cold out here." My voice. Perfect mimicry. I didn't move. Didn't speak. It knocked again. "Come on, man. Let me in." The tone shifted slightly. More irritated now. Still my voice, but with an edge I don't think I've ever actually used. I pulled out my phone, called Ron again. It rang, and rang, and rang. Derek, I can see you in there. The thing pressed its face against the glass. That's when I finally got a clear look. It was my face. Almost. Same basic structure, same hair color, same general features, but the proportions were wrong. The eyes were slightly too large, the mouth was slightly too wide, the skin looked loose, like a mask that didn't quite fit right, and when it smiled, there were too many teeth. Let me in. Each word was drawn out, separated, like it was reading from a script and hitting each word individually. I dropped the phone, backed up until I hit the cigarette display behind me. The thing's smile widened. Then, it turned its head, slowly, too far to the left. Joints that shouldn't bend that way. Derek's not home. It said this in Maria's voice. The nurse who comes through at 4 a.m. Then it switched to Eddie's voice. Derek's sleeping. Then James's voice. Derek's gone. It was cycling through voices. All people who came through the station. All people it had seen. Then it spoke in a voice I didn't recognize. Lower. Gravelly. Not human. Come. Outside. I grabbed the panic button under the counter. Pressed it. The alarm system was supposed to alert the county sheriff's office automatically. Response time was usually 15 to 20 minutes. I didn't know if I had 15 minutes. The thing at the door stepped back. It turned around. Sharp, mechanical movement. And walked back toward pump 3. I watched on the monitor. It stood next to the white Ford for a moment. Then it bent down. No. It collapsed down. Joints inverting, and it dropped to all fours. The shape changed. I watched the transformation on the grainy security footage. The limbs elongated, the torso stretched, the head shifted shape. Within seconds it looked like a dog, or a coyote. But wrong. Too big. Too lean. It turned and looked directly at the camera. The eyes reflected the light. White. Pure white. Then it bolted, ran on all fours toward the darkness beyond the parking lot, gone in seconds. The white Ford was still there, empty. I stood behind that counter for the next hour. Didn't move, didn't unlock the door, just watched the monitors and waited for the sheriff's department. Deputy Sozi arrived at 4:38 a.m. I recognized him. He'd been through the station a few times on his patrol route. Navajo guy. Probably early 40s. Calm demeanor. I unlocked the door when I saw his cruiser pull up. You hit the panic button? He asked, stepping inside. Yeah. What happened? I told him everything. The cigarette guy. The white truck. The thing that looked like me. The voice mimicry. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he nodded slowly. Show me the footage, he said. We went through it together. All 3 transactions with the cigarette guy. The nurse mentioning the truck. The figure that looked like me approaching the door. Deputy Sozi watched in silence. When we got to the part where the thing transformed, he stopped the footage. You know what that is? He asked quietly. I have an idea. He looked at me. My grandmother calls them Yi Naudlushi, Skinwalkers. They mimic. They learn. They watch people, and they copy them. I've heard the stories. They're not stories. He rewound the footage to where the thing was standing at the door, enhanced the image as much as the system would allow. See how it's standing? How the joints don't quite bend, right? That's because it's not human. It's wearing something, or pretending to be something, but it can't get all the details right. What do? You stay inside after dark. You keep the lights on. You don't respond to voices you recognize, especially if they're calling from somewhere you can't see. He looked around the store. You got salt? Like table salt? Anything. Salt, ash, cornmeal. Anything that makes a line. I grabbed the salt shaker from the subway prep area. It was half full. Put a line across the doorway, he said. Inside and outside if you can. It won't cross it. That actually works? You saw it stop at the door. You saw it try to get you to come outside instead. He looked at me. It can't come in here. Not without an invitation. Not without you opening that door. What about the white truck? We walked outside together. The truck was still sitting at pump 3. Deputy Sozi ran the plates. Reported stolen out of Gallup 3 weeks ago. He called for a tow truck and took photos of the scene. They use vehicles sometimes, he said. Stolen cars, abandoned trucks. They'll leave them places to confuse people. Make you think someone's there when they're not. Why? To isolate you. To make you come outside. To get you away from light and people. He closed his notebook. You're lucky you stayed inside. What happens if you go outside? He looked at me. Depends. Sometimes they just watch. Sometimes they follow you home. Sometimes. He didn't finish. The tow truck arrived around 5:30 a.m. They hauled away the white Ford. Deputy Sosi stayed until 6, right about the time the sun started coming up. You going to be okay? He asked before he left. Yeah. My shift ends in an hour. You should talk to your boss. Get some time off. I need the money. He nodded. I know. But be careful. They don't usually give up after one try. It saw you. It learned your voice. And now it knows where you work. He drove away just as the early morning regulars started showing up. Eddie came through at 6:15. Same as always. Large coffee, skull, brief nod. He didn't notice anything wrong. Maria stopped by at 6:45. Red Bull, breakfast burrito. She looked exhausted. You okay? She asked me. You look like hell. Long night. I said, I hear that. She paid and left. My replacement arrived at 7 a.m. Guy named Travis, early 20s. He took over the register while I cashed out the drawer and filled out the shift report. I didn't mention what happened. What would I write? Skinwalker tried to get me to open the door. I drove home in silence. Kept checking my rearview mirror. Made sure nothing was following me. I took Deputy Sozi's advice. Talked to Ron about taking a few days off. He said no. Said I couldn't just bail because I had a weird night. Said the station needed coverage. So I went back the next night. And the night after that. For 2 weeks. Nothing happened. Normal shifts. Normal customers. No white trucks. No voice mimicry. No figures at the door. I started to relax. Started to think maybe it had moved on. Then Maria didn't show up. She always comes through at 4 a.m. Always. For 2 years. She's been stopping by after her shift at the hospital. But that Tuesday morning, 4 a.m. came and went. No Maria. At 4:30 a.m. The door chimed. I looked up. It was Maria. Same scrubs. Same tired expression. Same way of walking straight to the cooler without making eye contact. She grabbed a Red Bull. Came to the counter. Hey, I said carefully. Hey, she replied. Her voice was flat. No warmth. No exhaustion. Just flat. I scanned the Red Bull. $2.79. She put down exact change. $3 bills. That's when I knew. Maria always pays with a card. Always. In 2 years, I've never seen her use cash. Maria, I said slowly. Long shift? She stared at me. Didn't blink. Long shift, she repeated. Exact same tone. Exact same inflection. My hand moved toward the panic button. "How's the hospital?" I asked. "The hospital," she repeated. "Is Dr. Yazzie working tonight?" "We don't have a Dr. Yazzie." I made up the name. "Dr. Yazzie is working tonight," she said in that same flat tone. I pressed the panic button. Her head tilted. Slowly. "Too far. Something wrong, Derek." My name sounded wrong in her voice. Too emphasized. Too deliberate. I backed away from the register. She smiled. Too wide. I could see her teeth. Too many of them. "Derek." Why scared? The grammar was slipping. The mimicry breaking down. "Get out," I said. "Derek, come outside. Get the fuck out of my store." The smile faded. Her face went blank. Emotionless. Then she turned. Sharp mechanical movement. And walked to the door. She stood there for a moment, facing away from me. When she turned her head to look back, the neck rotated too far. The face was still forward, but the body was facing the door. "Derek." Next time, the voice dropped lower. Not Maria's voice anymore. Something else. "Next time, Derek opens door." She pushed through the exit. I watched her walk across the parking lot. She didn't go to any vehicle, just walked past the pumps, past the edge of the light, and into the darkness beyond. Deputy Tsosi arrived 12 minutes later. I told him what happened. Showed him the footage. He made a call. 10 minutes later, another deputy arrived with a Navajo elder. Woman in her 70s, traditional dress, carrying a bundle wrapped in cloth. She didn't ask questions. Just walked around the perimeter of the store, speaking in Navajo, sprinkling something from her bundle. Cornmeal, I think. And ash. When she finished, she came inside. "It's marked you," she said. "It knows your face now, your voice, your routine. What do I do? You quit this job. You move away from here. You go somewhere with people and light and noise." She looked around the store. Places like this. Isolated places. Night places. These are their hunting grounds. I can't just quit. I need. Then you keep the lights on. You keep the door locked after 2 a.m. You never, never go outside alone after dark. She placed something on the counter. A small leather pouch. "Wear this. Don't take it off." "What is it?" "Protection. Not much, but some." She looked at me with eyes that had seen things I couldn't imagine. "And if you see someone you know acting wrong, talking wrong, moving wrong, don't engage. Don't correct them. Just get away." She left with the deputies. I wore the pouch. Still do. I also installed 3 more cameras on my own dime, covering angles the store system doesn't catch. And I keep a container of salt behind the counter now. I refresh the line across the doorway every night at midnight. Ron thinks I'm paranoid. Travis thinks I'm weird. The day shift people don't notice, but the regulars know. Eddie started bringing his own salt. Leaves little lines near the pumps when he fuels up his truck. Maria, the real Maria, stopped coming by. Deputy Tsosi told me she requested a schedule change. Didn't want to drive through this area at night anymore. James still comes through, but now he always calls ahead. Lets me know he's coming so I can watch for his rig on the highway. "You're smart to be careful," he told me last week. "I've been driving these routes for 20 years. I've seen things. Things that look like people but ain't. Things that follow your truck for miles. Things that stand in the road and smile when you swerve." I asked him why he keeps driving at night. "Same reason you keep working here," he said. "Bills don't pay themselves. It's been 2 months now. I haven't seen the thing again. Haven't heard my voice calling from the darkness. Haven't seen any white trucks or wrong versions of Maria, but I know it's still out there. I can feel it sometimes." late at night when the station is empty and quiet. That sensation of being watched, that prickle on the back of your neck that tells you you're not alone. Deputy Sozi stops by once a week now, usually around 3 a.m. He doesn't buy anything, just walks the perimeter, checks the lot, makes sure I'm okay. "You're doing good," he said last Tuesday. "Staying smart, staying safe. You think it's gone?" He looked out at the darkness beyond the parking lot. "No, they don't leave. They just wait. They're patient. They'll circle back in a year, 5 years, 10 years. And they remember what? The ones who got away." He drove off, leaving me alone under the fluorescent lights. I still work the overnight shift, Wednesday through Sunday, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I still see the regulars, still stock shelves, still clean the bathrooms at 3 a.m., but I don't unlock the door after 2 anymore. I don't respond to voices I can't verify, and I never go outside alone after dark, because that thing is still out there, somewhere in the desert, somewhere in the darkness, learning, watching, waiting for me to make a mistake. And I think about what the elder said. Places like this, isolated places, night places, these are their hunting grounds. If you work overnight shifts in isolated areas, gas stations, convenience stores, truck stops, pay attention to your regulars. Notice if someone comes back too soon. Notice if their behavior is slightly off. Notice if they repeat phrases instead of responding naturally. And if someone outside calls your name in your own voice, don't answer. Don't open the door. Don't go outside to investigate, because it's not you out there. It's something that learned you, something that studied you, something that's wearing your voice like a mask. Stay in the light. Keep the door locked. Trust your instincts when something feels wrong. I learned that lesson. I'm still here to talk about it, but Maria's not working nights anymore. And that white truck, they found it abandoned again last week. Different location. Same pattern of activity reported nearby. It's still hunting, still circling, still waiting for someone to make the mistake I almost made. So stay alert out there, especially if you work alone at night, especially if you're surrounded by darkness with just a circle of artificial light keeping you safe, because that light, it's thinner than you think, and the things waiting in the darkness, they're more patient than you can imagine. My delivery app showed I dropped off 60 packages last Tuesday. I only remember delivering 43, and my truck's GPS shows I was in 2 places at once. I deleted the app 3 days ago. Told Amazon I quit. They're still trying to get me to come back, offering bonuses, better routes, more pay. They don't understand that no amount of money is worth what I saw. My name's Kyle. I'm 31 years old, and up until last month I was an Amazon delivery driver covering rural routes in northwestern New Mexico. The routes nobody else wanted. The ones that took you an hour outside Farmington into reservation land, down dirt roads that aren't on any map, to houses that barely have addresses. I'd been doing it for 2 years. The pay was okay. Not great, but consistent. $18 an hour plus mileage. I'd deliver anywhere from 120 to 150 packages per shift, covering maybe 200 miles of driving. Long days, 12 to 14 hours sometimes, but it was honest work, and I didn't have to deal with a boss breathing down my neck. The routes were assigned through an app. Every morning I'd show up at the distribution center in Farmington at 6 a.m., load my van, check my route on the tablet they give you, and head out. The app tells you exactly where to go, what order to deliver in, how long you should take at each stop. It tracks everything, your speed, your location, how long you spend at each house, whether you follow the optimized route or not. Big brother stuff. But that's the job. Most of my route was normal. Residential neighborhoods in Farmington, some rural properties on the outskirts, a few businesses. But the last third of my route, that's where things got weird. I'd cross into Navajo Nation territory. Long stretches of empty highway, dirt roads branching off into nowhere, houses scattered across the desert with 50 acres between them. Some of these places didn't have real addresses, just GPS coordinates and landmarks. White trailer past the 3rd Cattle Guard, or blue house near the rock formation that looks like a dog. The people out there were usually nice, older folks mostly. They'd wave, offer water, sometimes try to tip me even though we're not supposed to accept tips. Quiet people, private people, people who'd chosen to live far away from everything. But there was one address I hated. It showed up on my route about once a week, always late in the day, always the last delivery or close to it. The app listed it as 1847 County Road, 7,950, Shiprock, NM. But when you pulled up the GPS coordinates, it took you down a dirt road that branched off Route 491, about 15 miles south of Shiprock proper. The road wasn't maintained, just 2 tire tracks through red sand and sagebrush. It went on for maybe 3 miles before reaching a small house. The house was old, single-story, Pueblo style, tan stucco that was cracking and peeling, flat roof, small windows, no visible power lines, probably running on solar or generator. There was a rusted-out truck in the yard that hadn't moved in years, weeds growing up through the wheel wells. I'd been delivering there maybe once a week for 6 months. I'd never seen anyone. The packages would be waiting at the door when I arrived. I'd scan them, place them on the porch, take the photo the app requires, and leave. Simple, but something about that place always made my skin crawl. It was too quiet, even for the desert. No birds, no insects. Just silence. And there was a smell, faint but present, like roadkill that had been sitting in the sun too long. The first time something weird happened was in early September of 2024. I pulled up to the house around 4:30 p.m. The sun was still up but getting low. I had 3 packages, all Amazon basic stuff. Toilet paper, canned goods, batteries. I grabbed the packages, walked to the porch, and set them down. Took the required photo, started walking back to the van. That's when I heard the door open behind me. I turned around. There was someone standing in the doorway. A man, older, maybe 60s, Navajo. He was wearing jeans and a flannel shirt. He had long gray hair tied back. His face was deeply lined. He was staring at me. "Hey," I said. Tried to sound friendly. "Just dropped off your packages." He didn't respond, just stared. "Have a good day," I said. Kept walking to the van. I got in, started the engine, and glanced in the rearview mirror. He was still standing there. Still staring. I drove away. That night, I checked the delivery app. According to the system, I'd made 48 deliveries that day. But when I counted up the stops, I actually remembered. The houses, the businesses, the apartment complexes. I could only account for 47. I figured I'd just miscounted. Long day, tired, easy mistake. The next week, I got the same house on my route again. I pulled up around 5 p.m., sun getting lower, same packages, household goods, nothing unusual. I walked to the porch, set down the boxes, took the photo. The door opened. Same man, same clothes, same stare. But this time, he spoke. "You're late." His voice was flat. No emotion. I checked my watch. I'm actually right on schedule. App says, "You're late," he repeated. Same tone. Same inflection. I felt that crawling sensation on the back of my neck. Okay, sorry about that. I'll try to get here earlier next time. He didn't respond. Just kept staring. I walked back to the van, got in, drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw him still standing there, watching me leave. That night, I checked the app again. 52 deliveries logged, but I could only remember 51 stops. I went back through my route on the GPS map, traced every delivery, every house, every business. All 51 were accounted for, but the app said 52. I called the support line, asked if there was a glitch in the system. No glitch, the tech said. System's working fine. You made 52 deliveries, all confirmed with photos. Can you show me the 52nd one? She pulled it up. Read me the address. 1847 County Road, 7,950, Shiprock, NM. I was there. I said, that's not the extra one. That's one I remember. Well, according to the system, you delivered there twice today. My blood went cold. What? Yeah, once at 4:57 p.m., then again at 5:32 p.m. That's impossible. I was only there once. The GPS shows different. 2 separate stops, 2 separate scans, 2 separate photos. Can you send me the photos? She did. I opened them on my phone. The first photo was mine. The packages on the porch, the doorway in the background. Timestamp, 4:57 p.m. The second photo was also mine. Same angle, same porch, different packages. Timestamp, 5:32 p.m., but I had never gone back there. I remembered leaving at 5 p.m. I remembered my next stop after that. A house in Kirtland, 20 miles away. I'd been there by 5:15. The GPS on my van confirmed it. I was in Kirtland at 5:15. Nowhere near County Road 7,950, but the app showed I was in both places. There's got to be an error, I said. I don't know what to tell you. The tech said, system doesn't make errors like that. Both deliveries have valid scans, valid photos, valid GPS stamps. She couldn't explain it. I couldn't explain it. I tried to forget about it. The next week, I got the house on my route again. This time, I paid attention to everything. I noted the exact time I arrived. 4:48 p.m. I counted the packages. 4 boxes. All household items. I scanned them carefully. Took the photo. Got back in the van. The door didn't open this time. No one appeared. I drove away, checking my odometer, checking the time, checking the GPS. At 5 to 10 p.m., I was at my next stop in Waterflow, 15 miles east. That night, I checked the app, 55 deliveries. But I could only account for 53. I called support again. Different tech this time. Let me check. Yeah, you made 55 deliveries today. Where are the 2 I'm missing? He read them off. 1847 County Road 7,950. 2 deliveries. One at 4:48 p.m., one at 5:23 p.m. That's impossible, I said. I was in Waterflow at 5:23. GPS shows you at County Road 7,950. How? How can I be in 2 places at once? I don't. Hold on. He went quiet for a minute. I could hear him typing. That's weird. What? Your van's GPS tracker shows you in Waterflow at 5:23. But the delivery tablet's GPS shows you on County Road 7,950 at the same time. So there's a glitch. No. Both signals are active. Both are transmitting. It's like... He paused. It's like there's 2 tablets. I only have 1 tablet. I know. but the system's registering too. I felt sick. What does that mean? I have no idea. I'm going to escalate this to IT. He never called back. The next week, I refused the route, told my dispatcher I wasn't feeling well. Took the day off. Let someone else cover my area. The following week, they put me back on the same route. I thought about refusing again, but I needed the money, so I accepted. I got to the distribution center at 6 a.m., loaded my van, checked the route. County Road 7,950 was on there. Last delivery of the day. I thought about skipping it, just marking it as unable to deliver and moving on, but the app doesn't let you do that without a valid reason. And I couldn't think of one that wouldn't get me written up, so I drove the route, made my deliveries, watched the clock as the day got later and later. At 4:30 p.m., I turned onto County Road 7,950. The dirt road stretched out ahead of me. Empty. Quiet. I drove slowly, watching the landscape, watching for, I don't know what. About 2 miles in, I saw something. Another Amazon van. It was parked on the side of the road. Same model as mine. Same blue and white livery. Same company logo. I slowed down, stopped about 30 feet behind it. The van was empty, engine off, driver's door closed. I got out of my van, walked toward it slowly. The license plate was different from mine, different vehicle number, but everything else was identical. I looked in the windows. Empty. No packages, no tablet. No driver. I tried the door. Locked. I walked around to the back. The cargo door was closed but not locked. I pulled it open. The van was full of packages, all addressed to 1847 County Road 7,950. Dozens of them. Maybe 50 boxes. All stacked neatly. All scanned. All showing as delivered in the system. My hand started shaking. I pulled out my phone, took pictures. Then I called dispatch. Hey, there's another Amazon van on County Road 7,950. Is there supposed to be another driver out here? County Road 7,950. That's your route. I know. But there's another van here. She checked the system. No other drivers assigned to that area today. Just you. Then whose van is this? What's the vehicle number? I read it off the side. She went quiet. Then, that van's not in service. What do you mean? It's decommissioned. It's supposed to be at the salvage yard in Albuquerque. Well, it's here, and it's full of packages. That's not possible. I'm looking at it right now. Stay there. I'm sending someone. She hung up. I stood next to the van, waiting, looking around. The sun was getting lower. The shadows were getting longer. Then I heard an engine. I turned around. Another van was coming down the road. Same model, same livery. It pulled up behind mine. Stopped. The driver's door opened. I stepped forward, expecting to see a supervisor or another driver. Instead, I saw myself, not someone who looked like me. Not someone wearing my uniform. Me. Same face, same build, same clothes, same haircut. It got out of the van, looked at me, smiled. The smile was wrong. Too wide, too many teeth. Kyle, it said in my voice. I backed up. My hand went to my phone. Kyle, it said again. You're late. The voice was perfect. Exactly my voice. Same tone, same inflection, same slight rasp. Stay back, I said. It tilted its head. The movement was too sharp, too mechanical. Kyle's late, it said. Kyle missed a delivery. Who the fuck are you? Kyle, it repeated. Then it smiled wider. I turned and ran to my van. Got in, locked the doors, started the engine. In the rearview mirror, I saw it standing there, still smiling. Then it moved, not running, not walking. It just moved. Fast. Impossibly fast. It was at my window in seconds. It pressed its face against the glass. The features were right, but wrong. The skin looked loose. The eyes were too large. Kyle. Open door. I threw the van in reverse, punched the gas. The tires spun in the sand. The van lurched backward. The thing held onto the door handle. Its fingers were too long. The joints bent wrong. I cranked the wheel. Threw the van into drive. Floored it. The thing let go. I watched it in the mirror as I sped away. It stood there in the road, shrinking into the distance. I didn't stop driving until I hit pavement. Then I pulled over and threw up. My phone rang. Dispatch. Kyle, what's happening? Your GPS is showing erratic movement. There's something out there, I gasped. Something that looks like me. What are you talking about? I saw it. It was driving another van. It knows my name. It sounds like me. Kyle, are you feeling okay? I'm not going back there. I'm not delivering to that address anymore. Kyle, I quit. I hung up. I drove straight to the distribution center, parked the van, unloaded the remaining packages, left the tablet and keys with the security guard. Tell them I quit, I said. He looked confused. What happened? I didn't answer. Just got in my personal truck and drove home. That night, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Kyle? It was my voice. I hung up. It called back. I didn't answer. It called 6 more times. I blocked the number. Then it called from a different number. Kyle, why did you leave? I hung up. Blocked that number too. It called from my mom's number. I answered. Mom? Kyle, come back. My voice, not my mom's. I hung up. Called my mom from a different phone. She was fine. She hadn't called me. The thing had spoofed her number. I stopped answering my phone. The next day, I got a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. There was an Amazon delivery driver standing there, holding a package. It was me. Same face, same uniform. But the proportions were slightly wrong. I didn't open the door. Package for Kyle, it said through the door. I backed away. Kyle. Open door. I grabbed my truck keys, went out the back, got in my truck and drove to a friend's house. I stayed there for 3 days. On the 4th day, my friend got a delivery, Amazon package, no return address. He opened it in front of me. Inside was a photo. It was me, standing on the porch of 1847 County Road, 7,950. But I'd never been on that porch. I'd always stayed in the van. On the back of the photo, written in marker, Kyle's late. My friend saw my expression. What the hell is going on? I told him everything. He didn't believe me at first. Then he pulled up the Amazon app on his phone, tracked the package. According to the app, it had been delivered by me. My driver profile, my photo, my name. But I hadn't worked for Amazon in 4 days. We need to call the cops, he said. We did. 2 deputies came out, took statements, looked at the photo, pulled up the delivery records. One of them was Navajo. Deputy Begay. He looked at the address on the delivery record. County Road 7,950. He said quietly. You know it? I asked. Everyone on the res knows it. He looked at me. That house has been abandoned for 15 years. The man who lived there died in 2009. I've been delivering there for 6 months. No, you haven't. Nobody lives there. Nobody orders packages there. He pulled up the property records on his laptop, Showed me the last known resident. The photo matched. Same man I'd seen in the doorway. Gray hair. Lined face. That's him. I said. I saw him. He spoke to me. Deputy Begay closed the laptop. No, you didn't. What you saw was something pretending to be him. What do you mean? There are things out there, he said carefully. Things that watch people. Things that learn. They find someone isolated. Someone who goes to the same place over and over. And they study them. They copy them. Skinwalkers. He nodded. Yeah. And once they've copied you, once they've learned your voice, your habits, your route, they can be you. They can go where you go, do what you do. And nobody knows the difference. What do I do? What? You already did it. You stopped going there. You broke the pattern. He stood up. Don't go back. Don't answer calls from numbers you don't recognize. Don't open packages you didn't order. And don't ever go back to that house. What about the thing that looks like me? It'll fade. Eventually. Once it realizes you're not coming back, it'll move on. Find someone else. How long? He shook his head. I don't know. Could be weeks. Could be months. That was 3 weeks ago. I haven't seen it since. Haven't gotten any more calls. Haven't received any more packages, but I check over my shoulder constantly. I don't answer my door anymore. I don't work delivery jobs anymore. I got a job at a warehouse in Farmington. Day shift. Indoor work. Surrounded by people, but sometimes late at night. I check the Amazon app out of curiosity. My driver profile is still active, and according to the system, I'm still making deliveries. Last week, it showed I delivered 60 packages, all to addresses on my old route, all time-stamped at times when I was at the warehouse. I called Amazon to report identity theft. They said there's no evidence of unauthorized access. The deliveries are all legitimate, all scanned with my credentials, all uploaded with photos. But it's not me. I know it's not me. Someone else is driving that route now. Using my name, my profile, my face, and I wonder how long before they realize something's wrong, before they see something that looks like them making deliveries, before they get called by their own voice. If you work delivery routes in isolated areas, especially on reservation land, especially to houses that feel wrong, pay attention to the patterns. Notice if customers say you already delivered when you haven't been there yet. Notice if other drivers report seeing you in places you weren't, and if you ever see another van that looks exactly like yours parked on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. Turn around. Drive away. Don't investigate, because that's not a glitch. That's not a mistake. That's something that's been watching you, learning you, copying you. And once it's done, once it's learned everything it needs, it won't need you anymore. I got lucky. I saw it before it was finished, before it could replace me completely. But somewhere out there, on County Road 7950, there's still something driving a blue Amazon van, still delivering packages to an empty house. And according to the app, it's on time. Every single delivery. Better stats than I ever had. My 8-year-old cousin came back from the woods speaking perfect Navajo. Our family is Irish, and he was only gone for 15 minutes. We brought the wrong kid home. I'm sure of it now. But back then I was the only one who noticed. My name's Patrick. I'm 24 years old, and I'm writing this from a hotel room in Flagstaff, Arizona. I can't go home yet. Can't face my family. Can't explain what I know without sounding insane. But I need to get this down. Need to document what happened before I start doubting my own memory. This was 3 months ago. Late June of 2024. My family decided to do a camping trip. Big family reunion type thing. My parents, my aunt and uncle, my 2 younger sisters, and my cousin Liam. Liam had just turned 8. Good kid. Quiet. Loved dinosaurs and Pokemon. Had this gap-toothed smile that made everyone laugh. We'd rented a campsite in Coconino National Forest, about 40 minutes south of Flagstaff. Beautiful area. Pine trees, hiking trails, a creek running through the canyon. The kind of place that shows up on Arizona tourism websites. We're Irish-American. South Boston originally. My grandparents came over in the 60s. We're pale. We burn easy. And we absolutely do not speak Navajo. Important detail for later. We arrived at the campsite Friday afternoon. 2 campsites side by side. 6 tents total. My dad and uncle set up the big canopy tent for cooking and eating. My mom and aunt handled the sleeping tents. My sisters, 12 and 14, immediately wandered off to explore the creek. Liam stuck close to me. He'd always looked up to me. I was the cool older cousin with the truck and the tattoos who let him play M-rated video games when his parents weren't watching. "Can we go hiking?" he asked. After we finished setting up camp, I said, "Help me with this tent." He did. Held the poles while I staked the corners. He was talking the whole time, chattering about some YouTube video he'd watched about velociraptors. Normal kid stuff. We got everything set up by 5 p.m. My dad started the campfire. My mom unpacked the coolers. My uncle pulled out his speaker and started playing classic rock. "Okay," I said to Liam. "Want to check out that trail?" His face lit up. "Yeah, stay close to camp," my aunt called. "And be back before dark." We headed down the trail. It was marked. Blue blazes on the trees every 30 feet or so. Easy to follow. The trail wound through ponderosa pines, past rock formations, along the edge of the creek. Liam ran ahead, then circled back, then ran ahead again. Endless energy. He was poking sticks at things, throwing rocks in the water, asking me questions about everything. Why are the rocks red? Iron oxide. Rust, basically. Why do pine trees smell like that? Sap. It's like tree blood. Can we catch crawdads in the creek? Maybe. We'd need a net. Normal conversation. Normal kid. We hiked for maybe 20 minutes. Got about half a mile from camp. The trail forked. One path continued along the creek. The other went uphill into denser forest. "Which way?" Liam asked. I checked my phone. Still had signal. "Let's stay on the creek path. Easier walking." We continued along the water. The sun was getting lower, but we still had plenty of light. I figured we'd go another 10 minutes, then turn back. That's when Liam stopped. "You hear that?" he asked. I listened. "Hear what?" "Someone calling." I didn't hear anything. Just whined in the trees. The creek burbling over rocks. "I don't hear it, buddy. It sounds like..." He tilted his head. "It sounds like my mom. Your mom's back at camp." "I know, but..." He started walking off the trail, toward the trees. "Liam, stay on the path. I just want to check." Liam, but he was already pushing through the undergrowth, heading uphill into the pines. I followed him. "Dude, we need to stay on the trail. Your mom's going to kill me if..." He stopped about 40 feet into the woods. He was standing perfectly still, looking at something I couldn't see. "Liam?" He didn't respond. I caught up to him. "What's wrong?" He was staring at a tree. Just a normal ponderosa pine. Nothing special about it. "Do you see it?" He whispered. "See what?" He pointed. His hand was shaking. I looked. Didn't see anything unusual. Just tree bark. Some lichen. A few ants crawling. "Buddy, there's nothing there. Let's head back." He turned to look at me. His eyes were wide. "Patrick, I don't feel good. You feeling sick? You need water? My head feels weird." I put my hand on his forehead. He felt normal temperature. "We should get back to camp. Come on." He nodded, started walking back toward the trail with me. We made it maybe 10 steps. Then he stopped again. "Liam, we need to..." "Shh," he said. Not like a kid shushing someone, like an adult. Commanding. I looked at him. Something in his posture had changed. He was standing differently. Straighter. More rigid. "Did you hear that?" he asked. "Hear what?" "Never mind." He smiled. But it wasn't his normal smile. It was off. Strained. "Let's get back," I said, unease creeping into my voice now. "Okay." We walked back to the trail, back toward camp. Liam was quiet now, not chattering, not running ahead, just walking beside me with that strange, rigid posture. "You okay?" I asked. "I'm okay," he said. His voice was flat, monotone. "You sure? You're acting weird." "I'm not acting weird." We got back to camp at 6:30. The sun was setting. The campfire was going strong. Everyone was sitting around it. "There you are," my aunt said. "We were about to send a search party." "Sorry," I said. Lost track of time. Liam walked straight to his mom and sat down next to her. Didn't say anything. "Just Saturday." My aunt ruffled his hair. "You have fun, sweetie." "Yes," Liam said. Same flat tone. She didn't seem to notice. Neither did anyone else. We had dinner. Hot dogs and chips. S'mores for dessert. Everyone was talking and laughing. Normal family camping trip energy. Except Liam. He sat there quietly, eating slowly, not engaging. When someone asked him a question, he'd answer with 1 or 2 words. "Yes. No. Okay." My younger sisters noticed. "What's wrong with Liam?" Emma, the 12-year-old, whispered to me. "I think he's tired," I said, but I was watching him. Something was wrong, something I couldn't articulate. Around 8 p.m., my aunt took Liam to their tent to put him to bed. He went without complaint. Didn't ask to stay up later. Didn't beg to roast 1 more marshmallow. Just went. He must be exhausted, my mom said. Everyone agreed. Long drive. Exciting day. Kids probably wiped out, but I couldn't shake the feeling. I stayed up late, sat by the fire with my dad and uncle while they drank beer and told stories. Around 11 p.m., I heard movement from Liam's tent. I looked over, saw his silhouette through the tent fabric. He was sitting up, just sitting there, not moving. "Liam, okay?" I called softly. No response. I got up, walked over to the tent. "Hey, buddy. You awake?" The zipper opened. Liam crawled out. He stood in front of me. In the firelight, his face looked different. The shadows fell wrong. His eyes seemed darker, larger. "Can't sleep," he said. "Want to sit by the fire for a bit?" "Okay." He followed me back to the fire, sat down on a log, stared at the flames. My dad tried to engage him. "How was the hike with Patrick?" "Good," Liam said. "See anything cool?" "Trees." "Just trees?" "Yes." My dad glanced at me. I shrugged. We sat in silence for a few minutes. Then Liam spoke. "Shie Liam Yinishe." Everyone stopped, looked at him. "What did you say, buddy?" My uncle asked. Liam blinked. I said, "I'm tired." "No, you said something else." I said, "I'm tired." Liam repeated. Same flat tone. My dad leaned forward. "Liam, what language were you speaking?" "English. Before that." "I don't know what you mean." My uncle looked at me. Did he hit his head on the hike? Fall down? No, I said. He was fine, but I'd heard it. Clear as day. He'd spoken Navajo. I didn't know what the words meant, but I'd heard enough Navajo in Arizona to recognize the language. Maybe he heard it on TV or something, my mom suggested. She'd come out of her tent. Kids. Pick up phrases. Yeah, my aunt said, emerging behind her. He watches a lot of YouTube. Probably heard it on some video. Everyone seemed satisfied with that explanation. Everyone except me. I watched Liam. He was still staring at the fire. His face was expressionless. Liam, I said quietly. What did those words mean? He turned to look at me. The firelight reflected in his eyes. White reflection. Like an animal. I don't know, he said. He went back to bed shortly after. I stayed up another hour. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop thinking about the way he'd looked at me. The next morning, Saturday, things got worse. Liam woke up early. Before everyone else, I heard him unzip his tent around 6 a.m. I was still in my sleeping bag, half asleep. I heard him walk past my tent, heard his footsteps on the dirt. They sounded wrong. The rhythm was off, too even, too measured. I unzipped my tent, looked out. Liam was standing at the edge of camp, facing the woods, completely still. Liam? I called softly. He didn't move. I got out of my sleeping bag, pulled on my shoes, walked over to him. Hey buddy, what are you doing? He turned his head to look at me. The movement was too fast, too sharp. Watching, he said. Watching what? He pointed at the trees. Them. I looked. Didn't see anything. There's nobody there. Yes, there is. Liam, you're freaking me out. He smiled. That wrong smile again. Sorry. My aunt emerged from her tent. Liam? What are you doing up? Patrick and I are looking at birds, Liam said. His tone had changed. Normal kid voice now. Cheerful. My aunt smiled. Okay, sweetie. Don't wander off. She went to use the bathroom. Liam's smile faded immediately. He turned back to the woods. What's going on with you? I whispered. Nothing, he said in that flat voice. You're not acting like yourself. I'm acting exactly like myself. The phrasing was wrong. Too adult. Too articulate for an 8-year-old. Did something happen in the woods yesterday? When you wandered off? He looked at me. His eyes were too dark. No, Liam. Shie Liam Yinishi, he said again. Then he walked back to his tent. I stood there, skin crawling. Something was very wrong. The day continued. We made breakfast. Scrambled eggs and bacon. Liam ate 2 servings. Didn't say thank you. Didn't use please. Just ate mechanically. My sisters asked if he wanted to play cards. He said no. My dad asked if he wanted to help gather firewood. He said no. My uncle asked if he wanted to go fishing. He said no. He just Saturday, on a log, staring at the woods. Around noon, my aunt started to notice. Liam, honey, are you feeling okay? I'm fine. You're being very quiet. I'm tired. Maybe you should take a nap. I'm not tired. But you just said, I'm fine, he repeated. Sharper this time. My aunt looked at my uncle. They had a whispered conversation. I couldn't hear it, but I could see the concern on their faces. That afternoon, my mom suggested we all go on a family hike. Easy trail. Just a mile, loop. Liam refused to go. I'll stay here, he said. We all should go together. My mom pressed. I'll stay here, he repeated. Firmer. Liam, we're not leaving you alone at camp, my aunt said. I'll be fine. You're 8 years old. I'll be fine, he said again. Same tone, same inflection, like a recording. My aunt tried to insist, but he wouldn't budge. Crossed his arms, stared at her with those two dark eyes. Finally, my uncle said, "Fine. Patrick, you stay with him." "What?" I wanted to. "Please," my uncle said. There was something in his voice. Worry. Fear. So I stayed. Everyone else went on the hike. Liam and I were alone at the camp. He sat on his log. I sat by the fire pit, pretending to read a book on my phone. Really, I was watching him. He didn't move, didn't fidget, didn't look bored. Just sat there, staring at the woods. After 20 minutes, I couldn't take it anymore. "Liam, what's going on?" "Nothing. You're not acting like yourself." "Yes, I am." "No, you're not. You're scaring everyone." He turned to look at me. "Why would I scare them?" "Because you're acting weird. You're speaking Navajo. You won't play with anyone. You just sit there." "Shie Liam Yinishe," he said. "What does that mean?" "My name is Liam. I know your name." "Why do you keep saying it in Navajo?" "I don't speak Navajo." "You just did. Right now." "No, I didn't." I stood up, walked over to him. "Liam, I need you to tell me the truth. What happened in the woods yesterday?" He looked up at me. His face was expressionless. "Nothing happened. Something happened. You disappeared for like 5 minutes. What did you see? Trees. Just trees? Just trees. Did someone talk to you? Did you hear something?" He tilted his head. The movement was too far, too mechanical. "Why do you keep asking me questions?" "Because I'm worried about you." "Don't be worried." He smiled, too wide. "I'm fine." I stepped back. My hands were shaking. "You're not Liam," I said quietly. The smile faded. "Yes, I am." "No. You look like him. You sound like him. But you're not him." "I am Liam," he said. Firmer now, almost angry. "Then prove it. Tell me something only Liam would know." He stared at me. Silent. "What's your favorite Pokemon?" No response. "What's your teacher's name?" Nothing. "What did we play last time I visited your house?" His eyes narrowed. Then he spoke. "Charizard, Mrs. Patterson, Mario Kart." The answers were correct, but the delivery was wrong. Too rehearsed, like he was reading from a script. "How do you know those things?" I whispered. "Because I'm Liam." "No, you're not." He stood up, slowly. His posture was wrong. Too straight, too rigid. "I am Liam," he said. His voice was different now. Deeper, layered. Like two voices speaking at once. I backed up. "Stay away from me." "I am Liam," he repeated, taking a step forward. "Where's the real Liam?" "What did you do with him?" He tilted his head again. "I am the real Liam." "Bullshit. You're something else. You're... The word stuck in my throat. But I knew what it was. Skinwalker. I'd heard the stories. Growing up in the Southwest, everyone hears them. Things that steal shapes. Things that wear people like clothes. His eyes went completely black. Not just dark. Black. Empty. "Shie Liam Yinishe," he said in that layered voice. Then I heard voices. My family. Coming back from the hike. The thing that looked like Liam blinked. When its eyes opened, they were normal again. Brown. "Hi," it called out in Liam's cheerful voice. "How was the hike?" My aunt rushed over, hugged him. "We saw a deer. It was so close." "Cool," the thing said. Perfect inflection. Perfect enthusiasm. I stood there, frozen. Watched it interact with my family. Watched it smile and laugh and respond exactly the way Liam would. Nobody else noticed. They were relieved that he seemed back to normal, but I saw it. In quiet moments, when it thought no one was watching. The mask would slip. The face would go blank. The eyes would go dark. That night, we had a campfire again. The thing sat next to my aunt. It told a story about school. It laughed at my dad's jokes. It asked my sisters about their interests. Perfect mimicry, but it refused to eat meat. Only ate vegetables and bread. When my aunt tried to give it a hot dog, it said its stomach hurt. Around 9 p.m., my uncle pulled me aside. "Is Liam acting okay to you?" I hesitated. "What do you mean? He seems different." "I can't explain it." "Different how?" "I don't know. He's being polite. Too polite. He's being perfect." My uncle frowned. "It's like he's trying too hard to act normal." I wanted to tell him. Wanted to explain what I'd seen. But how do you tell someone their son has been replaced by a skinwalker? "Maybe he's just trying to impress everyone," I said. My uncle nodded, but he didn't look convinced. We went to bed around 10:30. Everyone was exhausted. I lay in my sleeping bag, staring at the tent ceiling. I could hear movement outside. Footsteps. Circling the camp. I unzipped my tent slightly. Looked out. The thing that looked like Liam was walking the perimeter of the camp. Slowly. Methodically. Like it was patrolling. I watched it for 10 minutes. It never stopped. Just walked in circles. Then it stopped. Turned its head toward my tent. Even though it was dark, I could see its eyes. They were reflecting the moonlight. White. Like an animal. It smiled. I zipped the tent closed. Didn't sleep the rest of the night. Sunday morning. Last day of camping. Everyone was packing up. The thing helped. Folded clothes. Rolled up sleeping bags. Collapsed tent poles. Too helpful. Too efficient. My aunt kept praising it. "Liam, you're being such a good helper." It smiled. "Thank you." As we loaded the cars, I pulled my dad aside. "I need to talk to you about Liam." "What about him?" I think something's wrong with him. He seems fine now. Whatever it was yesterday, I think he's over it." "Dad, listen to me. That's not Patrick. Don't start with conspiracy theories. He's 8 years old. He had a weird day. Kids do that. But we're all tired. We're all ready to go home. Let's just get through today. Okay?" I gave up. Nobody would listen. We drove back to Flagstaff. Stopped for lunch. The thing ordered chicken nuggets. Ate them slowly. Methodically. Watched everyone at the table with those two dark eyes. My aunt kept saying how glad she was that Liam was feeling better. My uncle agreed. My sister said he was being way less annoying than usual. Perfect mimicry. We dropped them off at their house in Phoenix that evening. The thing hugged everyone goodbye. Told them it had a great time. As they walked to their door, it turned and looked at me. Smiled that wrong smile. Waved. I haven't seen my cousin since. I mean, I've seen that thing. At family gatherings. At holidays. But it's not Liam. I've tried to tell people. My parents think I'm stressed. My sisters think I'm jealous of Liam's new maturity. My aunt and uncle think I'm projecting something. But I know the real Liam is still out there. Somewhere in those woods. Maybe lost. Maybe worse. And I know that thing living in his house is something else. Something that studied him. Learned him. Became him. Last week, I went back to Coconino National Forest. Hiked that same trail. Went to where Liam wandered off. I found something. His jacket. The one he was wearing that day. Torn. Covered in dirt. Hanging from a tree branch about 50 feet off the trail. And on the ground beneath it. Tracks. Bare footprints. Child-sized. Leading deeper into the forest. But after 30 feet, They changed. They became something else. Something with claws. Something that walked on 4 legs. I followed them for a mile. They led to a cave. Small. Dark. I didn't go inside. I couldn't, but I heard something in there. Breathing. Or maybe crying. I couldn't tell. I left. Called the Forest Service. Reported the jacket. They said they'd investigate. That was 2 weeks ago. They never found anything. Said the jacket had been there for years based on the weathering. Said I must have remembered wrong, but I know what I saw, and I know what's living in my cousin's house. If your child goes missing in the woods, even for just a few minutes, pay attention when they come back. Notice if they act different. Notice if they speak languages they shouldn't know. Notice if they're too perfect, too obedient, too calm, because that might not be your child anymore. That might be something that studied them, learned them, replaced them, and the real kid, the real Liam, he's still out there, somewhere in the darkness, waiting for someone to notice he's missing. I'm going back to those woods next week. I'm going into that cave. I'm going to find the real Liam, even if nobody believes me, even if it means facing whatever took his place. Because that thing in his house, it keeps getting better at pretending. It keeps learning more. And sooner or later, nobody will remember what the real Liam was like. Nobody except me. So if you're reading this and I don't post again, if I disappear, at least someone will know the truth. Skinwalkers are real. They take children. They wear them like masks, and they're so much better at pretending than you'd ever imagine. I've seen the same hitchhiker in 4 states across 600 miles. Last night, she knocked on my passenger window while I was doing 80 on the interstate. I don't pick up hitchhikers anymore. Haven't for 3 weeks now. My truck stays locked, windows up, eyes forward, but I still see her sometimes, standing on the shoulder, watching me pass, smiling that wrong smile. My name's Travis. I'm 33 years old, and I've been a long-haul trucker for the past 11 years. I run routes through the Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, mostly freight, sometimes refrigerated goods. It's decent money if you don't mind being alone for days at a time. I drive a Freightliner Cascadia, sleeper cab, comfortable enough. I've got everything I need back there. Mini fridge, microwave, TV, PlayStation. It's basically a tiny apartment on 18 wheels. The job is simple. Pick up a load, deliver it, pick up another load, repeat. I average about 3,000 miles a week, 60,000 miles a year. I've seen every truck stop, every rest area, every backroad diner between Phoenix and Denver, and I've seen a lot of hitchhikers. Most truckers don't pick them up. Company policy, insurance liability, safety concerns. But I used to break that rule sometimes. If someone looked desperate enough, if it was hot enough, if they were heading the same direction I was going anyway, I'd give them a ride. I'm not a complete asshole. I know what it's like to be stranded, but that was before Route 491. This started 4 weeks ago. Late September of 2024, I was hauling a load of electronics from Albuquerque to Salt Lake City. Left on a Tuesday evening around 6 p.m. The plan was to drive through the night, stop at a truck stop in Monticello, Utah for a few hours of sleep, then finish the delivery Wednesday morning. Route 491 runs north from Gallup, New Mexico, through Shiprock and into Colorado. It used to be called Highway 666, the Devil's Highway, until they renamed it in 2003 because people kept stealing the signs. The name change didn't make it any less creepy. It's empty out there. Long stretches of nothing. Reservation land on both sides. Towns are few and far between. Cell service is spotty. At night, it's just you and your headlights and the road stretching endlessly ahead. I'd driven it hundreds of times. Never had a problem. Until that Tuesday night. I was about 40 miles north of Shiprock. Around 9 p.m. Dark. No moon. The kind of darkness where your headlights feel like the only light left in the world. That's when I saw her, a woman, standing on the shoulder, right at the edge of my headlight beam. She was young, maybe early 20s. Long, dark hair. She was wearing jeans and a white tank top. She had a backpack at her feet, and she was holding her thumb out, hitchhiking. I passed her doing about 70. Got a good look as I went by. She looked tired, sunburned, like she'd been out there for hours. I checked my mirrors, watched her shrink into the distance, felt that familiar guilt. She's probably fine, I told myself. Someone will pick her up, or she'll walk to the next town, but it nagged at me. It was hot during the day, probably hit 90 degrees. At night it dropped to maybe 60. She didn't have a jacket, and the next town was Cortez, Colorado. 40 miles away. I kept driving. 10 minutes later, I saw her again. Same woman. Same white tank top. Same backpack. Same thumb out. Standing on the shoulder, I hit the brakes. The truck decelerated with a loud hiss of air brakes. That's impossible. I'd been driving 70 miles an hour for 10 minutes. I'd covered at least 10 miles. There's no way she could have gotten ahead of me. I grabbed my CB radio, keyed the mic. Anyone on this channel? This is Nomad 7 heading north on 491. Static. Then a voice. Older guy. Gravelly. Go ahead, Nomad 7. You see a hitchhiker out here? Woman. Early 20s, white tank top. Pause. Negative. Haven't seen anyone. You okay? Yeah. Just. I thought I saw the same person twice. You're in Skinwalker country, brother. Keep your windows up. He clicked off. I sat there for a moment, heart pounding. Then I put the truck back in gear and kept driving. I didn't see her again that night. Made it to Monticello. Slept 4 hours in a truck stop parking lot. Woke up Wednesday morning and finished the delivery in Salt Lake City. Forgot about it. 2 days later, I picked up a return load in Salt Lake, heading back to Albuquerque. Same route, 491 south, through Colorado and New Mexico. Left Thursday afternoon. Hit Route 491 around 8 p.m. Still light out, but the sun was setting. 30 miles south of Cortez. I saw her again. Same woman. Same clothes. Same backpack. Same position on the shoulder. This time I got a better look as I passed. Her face was blank, expressionless, and she wasn't sweating despite standing in the late afternoon heat. I watched my mirrors. She turned her head to watch me pass. The movement was too smooth, too fluid. I grabbed the CB. Anyone on 491? This is Nomad 7 southbound. A different voice this time. Younger. Go ahead. You guys seeing hitchhikers out here? Negative. Why? Just checking. I clicked off. Kept driving. That night, I stopped at a truck stop in Gallup. Grabbed dinner at the diner. Sat at the counter next to another trucker. Older guy. Maybe 60. Weathered face. Navajo. You run 491 much? I asked. He looked at me. Every week for 30 years. Why? Keep seeing the same hitchhiker. Woman. White tank top. Seen her twice now in different locations. His expression changed. Got serious. What did she look like? I described her. He set down his coffee. How far apart were the sightings? First time was Tuesday night. Second time was tonight. Different spots. maybe 60 miles apart. Same clothes, same everything? Yeah, he was quiet for a long moment. Then, she smile at you? I don't know. I didn't notice. If you see her again, notice. If she's smiling, if she's got too many teeth, you don't stop. You don't slow down. You don't even look at her. You understand? What is she? You know what she is, he said. You're just afraid to say it. He paid his bill and left. I didn't sleep well that night. The next week, I had a different route. Denver to Phoenix. Didn't go anywhere near 491. Didn't see the woman. Started to relax. Started to think maybe I'd imagined it. Then the week after that, I got assigned another Albuquerque to Salt Lake run. Same route. Same highway. I left Monday evening. Hit 491 around 10 p.m. Dark. Empty. Just me and the road. I was about 20 miles north of Shiprock when I saw her. Same woman. Same position. But this time she was facing the road. Facing me. And she was smiling. I could see it clearly in my headlights. That smile. Too wide. Too many teeth. I gripped the steering wheel. Kept my speed at 75. Didn't slow down. As I passed her, she turned her head. Kept smiling. Kept watching me. I watched my mirrors. She stood there for a moment. Then she started running. Not jogging. Not walking fast. Running. On all fours. Like an animal. She was keeping pace with my truck. I was doing 75 miles an hour and she was keeping pace. I pressed the accelerator. 80. 85. She kept up. Running on all fours. Impossibly fast. Her limbs were too long. The joints bent wrong. But her face was still smiling. I grabbed the CB with shaking hands. Anyone on 491? This is Nomad 7 northbound, I need. She was gone. I checked all my mirrors. Nothing. Empty road behind me. I kept the pedal down. Didn't slow down until I crossed into Colorado. At the Cortez truck stop, I called my dispatcher. I told him I needed a different route. Any route. I didn't care where. What's wrong with 491? He asked. Can you please give me something else? All right. I'll see what I can do. He got me a Phoenix to Denver run. I-25 the whole way. No 491. I thought I was safe. I was wrong. The Phoenix to Denver route takes you through Albuquerque and up I-25 through Santa Fe, Colorado Springs. Then into Denver. About 12 hours of driving. Good highway. Well lit. Populated. I left Phoenix on a Wednesday morning. Made good time. Hit Albuquerque around 5 p.m. Stopped for fuel and food. Back on the road by 6. The sun was setting as I headed north on I-25. Traffic was moderate. Lots of cars. Other trucks. I felt safe. Surrounded by people. Just north of Santa Fe. I saw her. She was standing on the shoulder of the interstate. Same woman. Same smile. But she was 200 miles from where I'd last seen her. And 491 was 100 miles west. How? I kept driving. Didn't slow down. Watched my mirrors. She didn't move. Just stood there. Smiling. 20 miles later, I saw her again. Same position. Same smile. Different location. I grabbed my phone. Called the only person I could think of. My uncle. He's Navajo. Lives in Window Rock, Arizona. He's heard the stories his whole life. Uncle Ray? Travis? What's wrong? I need to ask you about Skinwalkers. Silence. Then, what did you see? I told him everything. The hitchhiker. The running. The impossible distances. Where are you right now? I-25, north of Santa Fe. She's following you, he said quietly. She's marked you. She wants something. What does she want? Access. Invitation. They can't come into your space without permission. She wants you to stop. Wants you to open the door. What do I do? You keep driving. You don't stop. You don't acknowledge her. You don't speak to her. And for God's sake, you don't let her in. How long will she follow me? Until she gets bored. Or until she gets what she wants. He stayed on the phone with me for the next hour, talking, keeping me calm, telling me stories about his grandfather, anything to keep my mind occupied. I saw her 4 more times on that drive, always on the shoulder, always smiling, getting closer to the road each time. I made it to Denver around 3 a.m., pulled into a truck stop. Didn't leave my cab until sunrise. The next day, I delivered my load, picked up a return load to Phoenix, different route, I-70 west to I-15 south, nowhere near I-25 or 491. I didn't see her on that trip, or the next one, for 2 weeks. Nothing. Different routes, different states, normal deliveries. I started to relax again, started to think maybe she'd moved on. Then last week, I got a load going to Flagstaff from Albuquerque. The route took me through Gallup and west on I-40. I left Tuesday evening. Got to Gallup around 8 p.m. Stopped for fuel. As I was pumping diesel, I heard tapping on the passenger window. I looked up. She was standing there, at my passenger door, 5 feet off the ground. The truck was moving. I'd left it idling, but she was keeping pace. Her feet weren't touching the ground. She was just there, hovering, smiling, tapping on the window. I jumped back, nearly pulled the fuel nozzle out of the pump. She tilted her head. Her neck bent too far. The smile got wider. Then she mouthed words. I couldn't hear through the glass, but I could read her lips. Let me in. I yanked the nozzle out, hung it up, ran to the driver's side, got in, locked the doors. She was still at the passenger window, still smiling. I put the truck in gear, started rolling. She kept pace, walking on air, tapping the glass. Let me in, Travis. She said my name. I heard it through the glass, through the road noise. Clear as day. I accelerated, got onto the interstate, hit 70, 80. She kept up, right at my passenger window, tapping, smiling. Let me in. Let me in. Let me in. The words became a rhythm, matching the tapping, matching my heartbeat. I grabbed the CB. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped it. She laughed. I heard it through the glass, a sound that wasn't human, wasn't animal, something else. Then she placed her palm flat against the window. The glass cracked, spider web pattern spreading from where she touched. Let me in, Travis. I swerved, hard, nearly jackkniffed the trailer. She was gone. I checked the mirrors. Nothing. Empty road. I pulled over at the next rest area, inspected the passenger window. The cracks were still there. Physical. Real. Not my imagination. I called Uncle Ray again. She's escalating. He said, she's getting aggressive. What do I do? You need protection. Real protection. He gave me an address in Window Rock. Go there. Tomorrow. Ask for Alice Begay. Tell her I sent you. What will she do? Whatever needs to be done. I drove through the night. Didn't stop except for fuel. Kept all the windows up. Kept the doors locked. Kept moving. Made the delivery in Flagstaff. Drove straight to Window Rock. Alice Begay lived in a small house on the edge of town. She was old, maybe 70. Traditional dress, silver jewelry, kind eyes that had seen too much. Uncle Ray had called ahead. She was expecting me. Show me, she said. I showed her the cracked window, told her everything. She walked around my truck, studying it, touching the trailer, looking underneath. "She's marked it," Alice said. "She's put something on it. That's how she keeps finding you." "What kind of something?" "A tether, a connection." She pulled out a bundle of herbs. "I can remove it, but you need to understand. Once I do, she's going to know. She's going to be angry, and she's going to come for you one more time. Will she be able to follow me after you remove it?" "No, but she'll try to stop you from leaving." "What do I do?" "You drive. You don't stop. You don't look at her. You don't speak to her. And when she tries to get inside," Alice handed me a small leather pouch. "You throw this at her. It won't kill her. Nothing kills them. But it will hurt her. It will make her let go." What's in it?" "Ash, salt, herbs, things that burn them." She looked at me seriously. "You only get one throw. Make it count." She walked around my truck again, speaking in Navajo, spreading ash, burning sage. It took an hour. When she finished, she stepped back. "It's done. The mark is gone. But she knows now. She's going to come." Alice handed me a second pouch. "Keep this one in your cab. It'll help protect you while you're inside." "Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you make it home." I left Window Rock just after noon, headed west on I-40 toward Flagstaff, then north toward Utah. I made it 20 miles before I saw her. She was standing in the middle of the road, not on the shoulder, not on the side, in the middle of my lane. I was doing 75. She was 100 yards ahead. I had two choices: swerve or hit her. I gripped the wheel, kept my foot on the gas. 50 yards. She smiled. 25 yards. She spread her arms wide. 10 yards. I closed my eyes and braced for impact. The truck shuddered. A loud thump. Glass breaking. But I didn't hit anything solid. It felt like driving through water. Through smoke. I opened my eyes. She was on my hood, clinging to the windshield wipers, smiling. Her face pressed against the glass. "Let me in, Travis." Her mouth was too wide, full of teeth. Too many teeth. Rows and rows. I couldn't see the road. She was blocking my view. I hit the brakes. Hard. The truck started to skid. She held on, started pulling herself up the windshield. Toward the top of the cab, I heard scraping. Metal on metal. She was climbing onto the roof. Then I heard her voice. From above, directly over my head. "Let me in." Scratching. Clawing. She was trying to tear through the roof. I accelerated again. Swerving. Trying to throw her off. The scratching got louder. The roof started to dent inward. I reached for the pouch Alice gave me. Rolled down my window. Stuck my hand out and threw it up onto the roof. There was a scream. Not human. Not animal. Something else. Something ancient and full of rage. The scratching stopped. I checked my mirrors. She was on the road behind me. On all fours. Burning. Smoke rising from her body where the pouch had hit her. She screamed again. Then she ran. Not after me. Away. Into the desert. Moving fast. Wrong. Impossible. Then she was gone. I drove for 12 hours straight. Didn't stop until I reached Salt Lake City. Parked at a truck stop. Locked all the doors. Didn't sleep. The next morning, I inspected the truck. The passenger window was still cracked. The hood had scratch marks, deep gouges in the metal. And the roof had 4 holes punched through it, like someone had tried to tear their way inside with claws. I filed an insurance claim. said I hit a deer. They believed me. I haven't seen her since. It's been 3 weeks now, but I don't pick up hitchhikers anymore. I don't drive 491. I don't drive at night if I can avoid it, and I keep that second pouch Alice gave me hanging from my rearview mirror. Uncle Ray says she's moved on. Says once they fail to get what they want, they usually find easier prey. But he also says they remember. They hold grudges, so I stay alert. I watch the shoulders. I watch my mirrors, because out there, on those empty highways, in the darkness between towns, they're hunting. They look human. They act human. They smile and wave and ask for help, but they're not human. And if you stop for them, if you open that door, if you let them in, you won't make it to your destination. If you drive long-haul routes through the Southwest, especially through reservation land, pay attention to the hitchhikers. Notice if you see the same person twice. Notice if they're wearing the same clothes in different locations. Notice if they smile too wide. And if someone knocks on your window while you're doing 80 on the interstate, don't look, don't slow down, don't acknowledge them, just keep driving. Keep your doors locked, keep your windows up, because that's not a person asking for a ride. That's something that's been watching you, following you, learning you, and it wants inside. I learned that lesson. I'm still here to talk about it. But Alice told me something else before I left Window Rock, something that keeps me up at night. She said, they don't forget faces. She might move on. She might find someone else. But in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you might see her again. And when you do, she'll remember you. She'll remember that you denied her. And she'll try again. So I keep driving. Keep checking my mirrors. Keep that pouch hanging from my mirror, because somewhere out there, on some dark highway, she's waiting, still smiling, still patient, still hungry, and sooner or later, everyone stops driving. Everyone gets tired. Everyone makes a mistake. I just hope when that day comes, when I'm too tired to keep going, when I finally pull over for the night, she's not waiting for me.